Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about 3 of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for a mega episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 63-year-old William Mary, his 22-year-old niece, Emily Hernandez, and Mary's friend, 53-year-old Paul Westover, are all Missouri residents. They all traveled to D.C. together, and they were all seen in photos and on video inside the Capitol. These 3, you're going to remember, they were seen smiling while they were holding a broken piece of the nameplate that someone, I don't believe it was them, but someone removed from outside of Nancy Pelosi's office. And Hernandez shared a video of herself on Snapchat holding that sign, and then she had one other item that she apparently snagged while she was in the building. Westover also shared his crimes on social media. He live streamed to Facebook while they were breaking the law, and he was heard saying on video, quote, "We are on the front line. They have rubber bullets. They're about to disperse the crowd." So Mary was the only one of the 3 that didn't boast about his illegal activity online. However, investigators did find a video that he recorded that was on his iPad, and he was heard saying, quote, "There it is. There it is, people. That's our building. We own it. I think we're going to take it back today. You know, all these people, fuck you. We're going in the front door. They ain't going to stop us 4 more years." So Hernandez was arrested on January 19th, and then both Mary and Westover were arrested a couple weeks later on February 4th. That was of last year. And I should mention, you guys will probably remember this, Hernandez is the young woman who was arrested again. This was earlier this year. She's now been charged for an alleged drinking and driving incident. She was going the wrong way on the highway while she was intoxicated, allegedly, which caused the death of a young mom. It was like a 32, 33-year-old mother of 2. And then the husband was severely injured. So a hearing for those charges will take place later this month. But in regard to January 6th, both Hernandez and Mary were charged with the standard 4 misdemeanors of entering restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and then parading or demonstrating in a Capitol building. And then they were each also charged with 1 felony count of theft of government property. Westover was also charged with the basic 4 misdemeanors, but instead of the theft charge, he was hit with 1 count of civil disorder. So over the course of December of last year and then January of this year, they each pleaded guilty. Hernandez pleaded guilty to the entering a restricted building charge. Westover pleaded guilty to another misdemeanor, which is slightly less serious, the charge of parading in a Capitol. And then Mary pleaded guilty to the most serious charge. He pleaded to theft of government property. So there were varied sentences that they could have faced, anywhere from 6 months for Westover all the way up to 5 years for Mary. However, prosecutors were only seeking 45 days for Hernandez, 90 days in jail for Westover, and 120 days for Mary. Why Westover? They wanted more time when he pleaded to the lesser charge. I don't know. But in court, the prosecutor played a video of that first breach at Peace Circle, which I mentioned a little bit ago. And, it was primarily carried out by the Proud Boys members, but there were other people in the crowd. And apparently all 3 of these people, all 3 of these defendants were present when that violent attack occurred. So this is how they and others got onto the Capitol grounds. And so they wanted the strongest sentence for Mary because they said not only did he plead to the greatest crime, the felony, but they said that he was also seen on video physically holding on to Hernandez's jacket, I guess, and pushing her forward onto the Capitol grounds. He was urging her to move forward onto the restricted area. And remember, this is his niece. They also say that Mary encouraged his niece, Hernandez, to pick up Nancy Pelosi's broken sign. And then that's when the infamous photos and the videos were taken. However, they also found a video of Hernandez, which she recorded herself, which showed that she stole 2 additional signs, and she did that all of her own accord. So she's not completely innocent here. At the sentencing hearing, Westover told the judge that he regretted his actions on January 6th, but then he also claimed that, I was pushed forward by the crowd. Like I said the other day, so many weaklings in this group. It just amazes me. And then, of course, he talked about the toll that it's taken on him personally, personally, financially. And then he complained about the hate mail that he's received and death threats. And then he also whined about being described in the media as a domestic terrorist and insurrectionist. I mean, if the moniker fits, right? So Westover said, quote, "I am not what the media would portray me as." So yeah, again, me. I'm sorry, but me. This has affected me. So U.S. District Judge James Boasberg presided over all 3 of these cases. And basically, he was having none of it. He was like, nah, this is bullshit. So Boasberg shot back at Westover and said, quote, "What you and others did on January 6th was nothing short of insurrection and an attempt to topple a government that had been lawfully and legally elected and maintain in power those who had lost the election." And then the judge said that, well, he can understand, he can appreciate Westover's point of view and what he's been through and his experiences. He said, quote, "I didn't hear much about why you were there in the first place." And then he also told Westover that he made the, quote, "intentional choice to be at the, quote, forefront of the mob." And then Judge Boasberg told Westover that although some of the people who entered the Capitol were ones that he referred to as curiosity seekers, that was his direct quote, he said that doesn't describe you. That's not you. The judge said, quote, "You were there early on. You were there in the middle of the group that was eager to overcome and did overcome the barricades and Capitol Police." Then as for Hernandez, her attorney tried to use her age to argue for leniency. The attorney said, she was only 21. She just thought they were going to go sightseeing. Again, the judge basically gave her a verbal beatdown. He said, quote, "You weren't 12. You weren't 13 when this happened. You were 21. You were an adult. You were old enough to vote, old enough to fight for our country. And you went into the Capitol and you were part of the insurrection that day. And you were happy to steal items from the Capitol as you left. I understand how people got infected with the mob spirit. But again, without the mob, none of this is possible. Without the mob, nothing happened. People don't die that day. People aren't traumatized and have their lives turned around. People like police officers, people whose job it is to guard the Capitol and protect those who we voted for." Boasberg also essentially laid blame at their feet for the deaths that occurred and stated, quote, "People like you didn't think twice about what you were doing." I couldn't find any information about what Mary may have said in court or what the judge said to him, but when all was said and done, Judge Boasberg sentenced all 3 of them to some sort of time in jail. He gave Hernandez 30 days behind bars, 1 year of probation, and 80 hours of community service, and he ordered her to pay a $500 restitution fee. Mary, on the other hand, got 45 days in jail, 9 months of probation, and 80 hours of community service as well, and also the $500 restitution fee. However, Westover received only the 45-day sentence, and then he was ordered to pay the $500 restitution fee, so no community service. And that confuses me because, like I said, out of the 3, he pleaded guilty to the least of the crimes. He pleaded guilty to just the parading charge. So how he ended up getting more time in jail than Hernandez, I just don't understand, but whatever. I mean, I guess she did get the probation and he didn't. So, and no community service for him. But I will definitely let you guys know when there's an update on the DUI case involving Hernandez. I can't imagine that she's not going to do some jail time for that. I mean, a woman is literally dead and her husband was very severely injured, and it appears to be pretty open and shut. I mean, there was a trucker who was on the other side of the highway that said that he kept trying to stop her. He followed her, I think he said, for like 5 miles, and he kept honking at her, and she almost collided with other vehicles. So just a horrific case. Luckily, their children were not with them. They were sadly, though, out for the night celebrating their anniversary. It was on the weekend, but because his wife had to work on the weekend, they decided to do it during the week. And that's what led to her death. So just a horrific, tragic accident. And this was on a weeknight at 7 p.m. And she is allegedly out drunk enough that she got on the highway going the wrong direction and then didn't even recognize it and pull off the road. I'll let you guys know when I hear more. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.